Hello and welcome back to the show, A Life of a Woman. I am your host, Callie, and I am here with my good friend Laura. Hello, Laura.
Hello.
So, what is it? We're coming up to 3 years of like my little boy. We had his birthday party yesterday, and your little one, Emily, she's coming up to her third birthday. So I was like, what a great time to mark like 3 years of mum life and like to sit down with a fellow mum and to unpack a debrief.
Oh my God.
Celebrate.
3 years worth of
So we actually met, like we've been together like almost the whole time for our 3 years together. Like we met right back at the start. So when you have a like firstborn kid, we're in South Australia. So when you have your firstborn kid, they put you into like a mum's group, like the Child and Family Health Service. So we were put into that same group when our little ones were like 4 or 6 months or something. So that's how old they were when we met. And now they go to the same daycare and just like they're best buds. So yeah, we've really like done the 3 years of mum life together.
Very much so.
So I want to take us back. I want to start our conversation. We keep like going all over the place as you do with mum life, but I want to take us back to the start of our mum life journey and start wherever you feel comfortable. It could be pregnancy or birth, or it could be after birth, but take us back to like an early shit, I'm a mum kind of moment that you had.
Oh, far out. Like I think, yeah, like just a quick note on the pregnancy thing. I hated being pregnant. Like, I
Yeah.
was either sick or I had the reflux. So I just wasn't one of those people that was like, oh, I'm going, I've got so much energy, like I'm loving life.
Yeah.
Like I just anyway, this is whole
Were you
thing.
having to like eat all the time? Like, did eating help with all that?
I
Okay.
didn't know what I did.
Did you
I
try
tried
the
a lot of different
lifesaver hat?
things. What's that?
Oh, I read it like later in like my third trimester that apparently sucking on lifesavers helped because of was it the bicarb soda or something, the fizz in them? And so I was doing that all through my like the last 5 weeks or something, popping lifesavers like
Oh my
crazy.
God, maybe that's what I should have done. Note to self, like if you go again, do that.
What else did you try? So what did you find any relief with anything?
Yeah, so I had the wafer, the ondansetron,
Okay.
for quite some time, but
Yeah.
I still vomit. Like I vomited every day up until like my third trimester.
But you didn't have HG?
No, didn't get that far, but no. And then third trimester was all the reflux. So every morning, bright and early, 2, 3 a.m., I'd give up on sleeping. I'd come and sit up on the
Oh
on
my
the couch.
goodness.
Yeah, like it was full on. And you know,
Yeah.
like I know a lot of people have, the extreme things happen in pregnancy, but that was just my experience. You know,
Oh
you
my
try not to
God.
complain about it too much, but you look back, you're like, oh, it's just
I swear they need like a sick leave for when you're pregnant.
yeah.
Because like how are you, it's just so stupid and not right that we're expected to function the same as every other working adult, even though we're going through like feeling nauseous every day.
Yeah. And I actually had to tell my boss quite early on.
Yeah.
Because I was taking so much sick leave. So unusual
Yeah.
for me at the time, like I'd vomit and be like, I can't get enough. I'm so
Yeah.
nauseous,
You can't even get to work.
So I had to sort of be like, hey, by way of explanation, like you can cut me some slack. But
Yeah.
they were all really good with that. But I feel like that aha kind of moment,
Yeah.
as you say, is probably like in the hospital. Like the
Mm-hmm.
next morning when they're like wheeling her in, that was the whole thing with giving birth and all that. Ended up having an emergency C-section, preeclampsia, all this sort of stuff. Like it's just nothing went good.
Yeah.
And what has in the last 3 years now?
Yeah.
But yeah, like they wheel her in at like 7 a.m. They
Yeah.
gave me like 3 hours sleep, and I could feel this little baby screaming at the top of their lungs out from the nurse's desk. And I don't know, something in me just went, I know that's my baby.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Weird,
I just,
isn't
she'd only been on this earth for mere hours. And I was like, oh my God, I know that's my baby. And
yeah,
sure enough, like they wheeled her in and said, look, sorry, she needs to feed. So,
Yeah.
we've had to come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just that moment of like that mother's instinct
It is
coming
so
out
real. And it's so creepy as well when you just know to do these things or make these moves or know that something's not right. And you're like, but there is no logical reason why I would know that, but you just know. It's so, I really like it, but it is creepy.
Yeah.
Like, how do I know this?
I mean, in the moment it makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, this is, I know what I need to do in the
Yeah.
moment, but yeah, if you take the time to reflect afterwards,
Yeah.
you kind of go, oh, how did I know?
Yeah. Yeah. So one of my, probably my first, like, I'm a mum kind of things is like, and I'll do a full podcast later on my pregnancy and birth story and struggle to conceive and all that. But when I was like, okay, I'm officially a mum, was like after birth, and then they put him on my chest and like, I think he was there for like 20 or 30 seconds. And then they took him off straight away, went and did the testing, the score that they do, the APGAR or whatever, and then put him back on for like 10, 15 seconds. And then they're like, no, we need to go take him to like ICU. And I was like, they're like, just his breathing's not right. And so I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I've just done a 15-hour labor with no meds. Like,
Just pop this baby out.
like Robert, just go with the baby. And then so I'm just left like kind of lying there, and I was like, okay, so like I know I've just had a baby and I'm a mom, but it's like I don't know what's going on with that. I'm just like lying here dealing with all the post-birth stuff, like, and then anyway, so they took me up, and yeah, he was like in one of these incubation chambers because like his breathing was off, and it was kind of like this, okay, cool, like he's here, but like we're definitely not out of the woods. Like, you know how some people talk about like that huge wave of like emotions or like I'm a mom, like I didn't have any of that. I was like, this is my little thing to protect. And like, I know I love him, but at the same time, because I had no idea what was going on with him, I like had actually had this huge wall because I was like, almost like preparing myself that he might not come home with us. Like, and I didn't, it just like, and I know they were doing a great job and I had full faith in them. But just because I probably from sleep deprivation or just emotions or whatever else you're like going on with post-birth, like I didn't fully understand the situation. And he was in there for a week in NICU, so the neonatal intensive care unit. He was in there for a week, and we would go and visit him every day, and we were there for like almost 24 hours a day. But like every day we went in was like he was just getting worse and worse. Like we left him and he was just like lying there with oxygen. The next day we went in and he had tubes in him, and then the next day we went in and like something else was not quite right, and then the next day we went in and they were like monitoring his heart, and he actually had like sirens and alarms going off if his heart rate was not like high enough. So like he just seemed to be getting worse and worse. So I'm like, I know this is like my kid and I'm a mom and like I love him and whatever, but I also don't know if he's even going to come home with me. And then like it was like day 6 or something, and they had like the alarms and sirens had stopped going off, so he seemed like he was settling. And then like the next morning we went in, they're like, he's ready to go home.
Oh my God.
And I was like, that's great, but also like he just
sure?
he just had heart sirens going off yesterday. Like, I don't think I want to take him home. And so they did. They gave him, and like we went home that day, and I was like just so on edge for like days, and like was not sleeping because I was like, he's still breathing, because they were having to monitor his breathing as well, and his breathing kept dipping as well. And so yeah, like going home, it's like not even trying to like deal with then like actually looking after this new baby. It was like, is my baby even gonna like stay alive? Like what do I like, yeah. So I just had like, I just remember I was not emotionally present because I was so removed from like, just in case he died. Like it was a really weird feeling. Yeah.
Especially going in that first time, seeing him and all of that. And like,
Yeah.
it's all this like on top of becoming a new mum.
On top of
You know,
everything.
like you can't just sort of take him home and all right, start settling into your new life.
Yeah.
Like all this extra stuff. Oh my God.
Yeah. It was like, it was really weird. It was really weird. Yeah. It was weird. And like you tell them, like luckily we're very open people, and like so we actually like told everyone after the first day or two, like he is here, but like he's not okay and we're not okay. So like we'll like talk to you all later. But like yeah, for so, and then a lot of people actually came out and said, oh, ours was in like NICU as well, our kid was in there and they're okay. And yeah, it's like but oh, and just, yeah, I will do a full podcast episode on it, but just seeing like other babies, like there was babies in there that were celebrating their 100th day in there, and it's,
Oh
you
my
know, not
God.
something to celebrate. And the parents had to go back to work because it was just so long, and like it was just, and I guess like I've really taken on board with my journey that all these or challenging situations are because like it's just making me so much more aware of what is like. I'm kind of grateful in the long run that it hasn't been an easy process. That like, because then I talk about it and then others are like, oh, like we went through that and yeah, it's really shit. And like hearing like your reflux and stuff, like it's, yeah, I feel like I'm here to talk about the not good stuff, the not nice, the shitty stuff, like because we don't hear about the shitty stuff enough. So.
And I think it's good, yeah, you know, you get the story out and people, you know, connect with that and they go, oh, I have a similar experience, you know.
Yeah.
I think that the main thing is that knowing that you're not alone, you know.
It's not rainbows and butterflies, and if it's not rainbows and butterflies, it doesn't mean it's like wrong. Like it's just, and it doesn't mean that like that's like you're the end of the story. Like things can definitely get better and improve, and like he was finally going home. But yeah, it's just a different start. But like it's good to see that everyone has such different starts and journeys. So let's flip this to the positives. So let's dive into some highs of mum life, some highs, some really positive experiences or memories, or
I think at the moment, so my husband and I are really loving this age.
yeah,
Like I think, you know, like you can understand them so much more. You can have these amazing conversations with them and just the funny things that she does.
the personalities.
The personality, the sass, the attitude, like we're really seeing a lot of the three-nager,
Mhm.
you know, classic three-nager come out at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, like it's I feel like I'm in this constant state, like where I'm torn between either laughing at something that she's just said because she's come back at me with a bit of sass,
Yeah,
or like being immensely frustrated. Like, just go do it. Just
yeah,
put your clothes on, like brush your teeth, like oh, you know, we're gonna be late again, which you just have to get used to.
yeah,
Yeah, it's just like constant state. Like, oh my God, that is so funny. I can't believe she just said that.
yeah. But where's it from?
Just like, and I find that she's actually parroting a lot of what we say back at us
100%.
at the moment.
Yeah.
And oh my God, like I'll look at Tom, I'll try not to laugh, you know, I'm kind of covering my mouth going on. Like, sorry, but yeah, we just laughed that afterwards because it's like it's just amazing. Like, and her speech is just exponentially improved in the last 6 months, like leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just such a great age at the moment.
I feel like she's really transitioned out of that like young toddler baby stage, and like you're saying in the last 6 months, she's just like she's a little kid now.
She is big personality, lots of sass, like has to do everything herself. Like it's independent, little kid, which apparently is what I was as well.
There we go.
You know, have to like do everything yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm glad that Kai is very much on the outside. He looks like Robert. On the inside, he's me. He's full on got my personality, and I know I was like a little dream, like baby. I'm like, oh, thank you, Karma. He's highly emotional, but that's fine. It's just waterwork, not tantrum.
It passes quickly.
Yeah, and like it's all a phase, isn't it? Some phase last 2 weeks, some last 2 years, but everything is such a phase.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what I'm loving is the cuddles. My love language is physical touch, and I just love that I just have this little bundle that I just get to cuddle all the time. And I reckon his love language might be physical touch, or one of his top two is physical touch. So he's like all over me, which sometimes can, you just like, I was just having a shower with him before, and I was like holding him in the shower. I want to wash my face. Like I can't hold you while I want to wash my face in the shower. But all the cuddles and it's really filling my physical touch love language cup. And the creepy thing is, I actually, and I was so aware of this at the time, I reckon from like 9 years old, I was dreaming of cuddling my baby. And it feels the same. Like it feels exactly how it felt when I was dreaming it at 9 years old about like cuddling this little bundle. Yeah. So it's
Beautiful.
just
You like manifested your 9-year-old dream.
yeah. Without even realizing. See how easy it is. You just manifest, you'll get there eventually. But yeah, no, so that's really something I'm loving. And then the flip side, what are some challenges or woes of mum life?
So many. Leaving the house on time, like for me, like I was always, well, I still am. I try to be very organized, structured, with my routine, all of that. Like I think the one thing is like trying to get out on time, leave the house on time, and it's just a huge struggle. But I feel like, like we talk about like the sass and attitude and like the free nature, that like it really stems from wanting to be independent and things for yourself, and these things take time. So we'll try and
To
take
help
us through
upskill them to then to actually be able to do that stuff.
Yeah, that's right. You don't want to sort of interject and be like, oh, come on, hurry her along.
Yeah.
So it's a fine balance between letting them do things themselves and, so like we'll take her through the bedtime routine, and it's like, she got distracted, like she, but she doesn't want to do it one night, and so it's step by step, step, and sometimes it's a real struggle, and lately she's been more awake at night, so getting her down is a bit more of a challenge as well. So, like we start winding her down about 7 9. Some nights we won't get out of her room until 9:30.
It's like 2.5 hours
to
trying to
half
get
my
into
night.
sleep. Yeah.
And on a work night, you can imagine, half the time we're falling asleep ourselves and I'm playing on the phone.
Yeah.
I'm nodding off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you get out and you've just lost the night.
Yeah.
It's not much
No.
time left for anything.
No.
So a bit of a struggle with that at the moment.
This is that tricky age where they need that daytime sleep.
Yeah.
But then that's what's making them not tired at night time, but they can't get through a whole day without some kind of sleep. So I'm sure once they drop it, I'm hoping the same thing, and then bedtime will come back a little earlier.
Yeah. I'm trying to like limit the daytime nap, trying to keep her busy, doing lots of physical things during the day if we can, and hopefully it doesn't always work.
Yeah.
It's what it is. You just have to roll with the punches.
Yeah, that's probably like the one time that I actually get frustrated at him is when he's supposed to be going to sleep, or like, he's had this good routine of he goes to sleep, and I'm not structured, but I know he should be going to sleep between 12 and 12:30 or whatever it is. And then if he gets to 1 o'clock and he's not asleep, like I just lose it internally, or like just like I just lose it. I'm like, you should be asleep. And it's like the only time that I get like, and he doesn't get that. Like it's all like you go into the other room and like, do that to get it out of your system. But the sleep thing, like that's my biggest frustration is when he just won't go to sleep.
I mean, there's too much going on. Like their brains are going. Like, there's just so much going on for them, and they probably feel like they don't want to miss out, and they
massive
like they're going to
FOMO.
sleep. And we can get up to like 2:30 some afternoons, and she's still not asleep.
Yeah,
wow. Is it even worth continuing to try now? I've been trying for an hour.
Okay.
Today. I don't know. Like it's not. Yeah. And then some days, honestly, if I'm just not in the mum zone. I don't even know how to explain that. But I just go, what? I throw her into the air and go, I guess you're not getting a nap.
Yeah.
And then she'll nod off for like 5 o'clock.
And that's the annoying part, because like we know better. Like if you just went to sleep before, then you wouldn't be doing this. And like I'm saying, like you, like I like to be organized, and I get so frustrated when the sleep time does take so long. And I'm like, I either shouldn't have bothered, or like we could have just been doing something. Like I just feel like it's such a waste of time. Like trying to get them to sleep for more than an hour. I'm like,
especially like if you've got things planned. So like yesterday, for example, for the party,
Yeah.
even though we don't have like babies anymore, we're not working around, feeding schedules and things like
Yeah.
that, it's still a day's worth of preparation.
Yeah.
So we did kindergarten in the morning and usually we'll hang around for a coffee or something. I was like, no, we're gonna go home, we're gonna have an early lunch, we're gonna have an early nap. I'll explain this to her
Yeah.
throughout the different stages of the morning. I
Yeah.
tell them that we're going to finish our lunch now because we need a nap,
Yeah.
because we need to go to kind of party. So it's always
Yeah.
like one step, trying to get you through the day. Like it's
Yeah.
just this massive plan.
So you've got to be more
Oh my God.
protective as a parent. I feel like you've got to be more protective of their sleep when they're this age because they
Totally.
don't transfer. They don't fall asleep if they're exhausted. They switch to overtired. They have massive FOMO. Like as a baby, Kai could just fall asleep wherever. Like we would take him to parties and like be out almost at bars like for all hours.
I miss that.
And I know.
So just fall asleep over that, you'll be fine.
And they just fall asleep wherever. Whereas now, as a toddler parent, you've got to be so protective of that sleep because
I think we did it right. Like yesterday was one of the few days.
you wouldn't know.
Yeah, I think we rocked up maybe 10, 15 minutes late, and I was like, yes, this is such a win.
Yeah,
like,
she had good energy all
doesn't
day.
happen often.
Yeah.
And she ended up getting in a full hour. So I'm like, yep, you know what? I'm not even sad that it's not an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever.
Yeah.
She got some sleep. And at this
Yeah,
point,
for
like
sure.
you take what you can get.
Yeah, for sure. So one of our, I think I forgot two. Oh yeah, so yeah, I kind of had two things, and similar to you, one of mine is being so organized and like have everything planned, and you've just got to learn like right from the start. Things do not go as planned. You've got to be so adaptable. And so what I've learned is that you can book things in, but everything is with the caveat of it might be getting cancelled. So I don't book tickets too far in advance because they might get sick or something or other. But I really learned this he was just under 1 year old, and Robert and I had a plan to go and celebrate our 1 year anniversary because it was his daycare day and we were going to have the day off together, and it was going to be like our first adult only day without him. And then the night before, he was like walking through the bathroom and slipped on a wet puddle and like fell backwards, and luckily didn't hit his head, but we were like thought maybe he's okay, maybe he's just bruised his coccyx, went to sleep, and then he woke up at like 1 a.m. like screaming his head off, and we had to go to emergency department and get x-rays and stuff. And it was all okay. It took him to the osteopath later, and his muscles had just like massively contracted, obviously trying to catch itself, and so he actually needed a lot of like massage work to help them to loosen up. But yeah, so for our 1 year anniversary, that was going to be our first adult only day, we were in emergency department at 1 a.m. So I was like, okay, this is the lesson I needed, and I've learned it. Thank you.
Kids, man.
And it also dawned on me that like any kind of like medical bills, or we've also had our TV smash that was like 6 months old.
Yes.
Like anything that happens, it's like we now have to pay the expenses. I'm like, oh shit, I'm now the parent. I have to pay for everything. I was like, no big this, no expensive that, no jumping off of that thing.
Totally. Don't worry. No way.
Like this is why people bubble wrap. No, we don't bubble wrap here, but yeah, it's like just these realizations that you have that like, oh, I remember like looking on my parents when I was a kid and seeing them in their 30s, and I'm like, oh shit, like that's now us at that age, and so we're actually those ones now that have all that responsibility and whatever. And I was like, oh fuck.
Even 3 years on, I still can't. Sometimes you catch yourself and you're like, really? Like, who let me be a parent? Like, am I qualified for this still? Like, it's like second guessing stuff.
I am not
really next.
I'm not looking forward to having a teenage boy.
Oh, stop.
Because I never had boys in my life. I've only got sisters. I went to an all-girl high school, but like the things that I've heard and seen, like boys jumping off roofs into pools and stuff, I'm like, oh my gosh, I do not want to be running to emergency department every other week because he's driving cars, or I don't know what. I don't know.
Crazy.
So I'm like, as much as like toddler youth are hard, I'm like, maybe actually I am looking forward. Maybe like I should enjoy this while they're still semi in a bubble compared to teenage years being at school and outside influence, and they're so much more independent. I'm like, okay, maybe I should doesn't relish in the fact that I can still bring them home and
Yeah, they still want to cuddle you.
they
I
want
think
to
is
cuddle.
Going to be the
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably another challenge that we've had is that because we are still 3 years on breastfeeding and co-sleeping, did
Yes.
not realize we would have such a milk monster. Tried to win quite a few times, but because we're still co-sleeping, which I'm quite okay with, I don't mind the co-sleeping. I'm going to be over breastfeeding, but co-sleeping I'm okay with. But just being really aware that it means that Robert gets less, like my hubby gets so much less of my time and attention because we literally don't have any one-on-one time. Like we're with Kai during the day, and then like when we go to sleep, like Kai's there. So like yeah, just that's something that I just have to be super mindful of. And we've had to like have that open communication to make sure that we're both like trying to fill up each other's cups without necessarily having that one-on-one time together. And so luckily he's still having naps. So that means on weekends when Robert's home from work, we get his nap time like an hour, hour and a half. We're going to quick get your week's worth of attention now. But yeah, when he drops that nap, like, maybe that's when he's going to have to learn to sleep in his own room.
Yeah. Not ready for dropping the nap.
No, definitely not ready for that. I yeah, actually need so much like of that downtime myself. Like if I don't have that midday, just like an hour to just zombie, it actually is like so hard to get through the rest of the day. It's not because you don't have energy, it's maybe it's just the mental tiredness.
Well, I think it's like, you know, because you always have to be on all the time.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like even like an hour, you know, while they're down, like it's just
Yeah.
something that like you want to do in that moment that you haven't been able to get to like all day or something without having like, you know, 17-kilo toddler attached to your hip if you're just having a clean day, you know, and you've done everything one-handed up until that point.
You're so good because you always mention like doing housework during the nap time. I'm like, I watch Real Housewives and lie on the couch.
Oh my God, I just Look, not every day, but
it's like whatever you need to do for yourself to get through the rest of the day, right?
My sanity. That's
yeah.
I just need to clean my floor, and then I feel more accomplished for the day.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like kind of
whatever you need to do.
It's all mind games. It's obviously whatever you need to do.
You also mentioned as well about like the self-competitiveness and just always feeling like you have to do better, which is definitely like I feel like in society anyway, but just that next level with mum life and stuff. Like, is that something that you felt or been aware of or seen since being a mum?
Yeah, look, I think, you know, like as a person in general, but also as a mum, you know, like you've had a bad day with her and you just haven't been able to like maybe calm her down or resolve the situation or whatever. You're like, oh, like all of that kind of thing. And then I think it's like a lot of it for me is like the mum guilt coming into it, splitting my time between work and then like being the present mum. And I'm always at war with myself, like I'm doing more at work, I should be thinking my career, like, oh my God, that's about to be 35, and that's terrifying.
That's right, I'm older.
I just, you know,
but
like,
it is scary,
yeah, but then it's also like, it's nice. Like, I really hold on to the part-time.
Yeah.
You know, I've got that one day with her. As well. So yeah, it's constantly at war with yourself. It's the mum guilt that it is the I don't know how else to describe it, but the self-competitiveness, like it's always that little voice in your head, like you can do better. Like why aren't you doing this? Why haven't you like made time to do this? You can do more here. Like, you know, it's and I feel like it's a real mum guilt thing. And like my mum comes over and she's like amazing. She'll come over, she's every time without fail. She'll see the washing basket. It's always full. Like I keep up with my washing, but it's the folding.
It's the putting it away. Yeah.
And like, bless her, she'll come over and she'll start folding it.
Oh, that's so nice.
I know you do these, like she'll just fold it. And you're just like, oh God, I know.
Bless mum.
I know, right? Then on the flip side of that, like you feel like you're failing. You know what I mean? It's like, why should I have done that? You know what I mean? Like it's
hard when Robert has like when he's the one watching Kai, and I'm off working or whatever, and then you see how much he gets done around the house. I'm like, my gosh, I was home all day the day before. Why did I not like how did I not get that done? But it's also because like he's very much a mama's boy. Like I never like I don't want to stereotype, but he is such a mummy's boy. He like will go 10 minutes and then need my attention, whereas Robert, it can, it's not like that. And yeah, just that like that guilt of like me being home more, but not feeling like I'm doing enough around the house or not keeping up with the house when I'm home so much. But it's just like Kai just needs me so much more.
Try to split your attention 6 million ways.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, why are we made to feel like this? Like, why are we at war with ourselves all the time?
Yeah.
You need to do that. Why do you do this? Like you look back in the day and you're like, nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that was a big
there are those good people in our lives that remind us you kept a human alive.
Totally. And
yeah, but sometimes that doesn't feel enough.
So it depends what day it is.
Sometimes I need to tick something off my list, and other days, yes.
Yeah.
But the human is enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like some days, like my husband will say that to me. I'm like, it's not what I need right now.
So you mentioned like work. Let's keep going with that because I did have a couple of questions here from people online.
Oh,
so
nice.
one of the things talk about one of the questions was balancing work life and mum life and like that whole going back to work and our care situations and like as you say that constant juggle because everything is a phase and like what we did sending them to care like what they've been there for a year or 2 years, 2 years now.
Yeah.
So like what we did back then, like I'm now going through this whole reflective thing on my care situation. So yeah, like just talking about work life and mum life and that juggle and care.
It is a big juggle.
Yeah.
I'll say that. And I feel like, the demands of, being a mum is more as they get older.
Yeah.
I've been honestly so lucky with the support, not only from work, but my family as well. So like we are so lucky to have her in care a couple of days a week. We've just bumped it up to 3, just so she can, hang out with her besties. But we also have our mums that take her for a day a week and just like so grateful for that. It's just fun immensely. I've managed to stay at 0.8 at work, so working 4 days out of the 5. Every few months, I'm kind of like, are you sure this is okay? Do you want me to go full time? Like I'm just checking in. But yeah, I'm really grateful to have a workplace at home that is flexible enough and like I understand work-life balance. Like there's a lot of mums and parents and young families
so
and all
much
that in the
easier.
team and like it's been really helpful. We can kind of work the hours around like childcare pickup and things like that. So that's been really helpful.
Yeah. Sure. So both started daycare. You were saying Emily was 1 and Kai was 10 months old. So they both started daycare, kind of not so young, but like youngish. I guess a lot of kids kind of usually start around that age after maternity leave has finished. So Kai was going 2 days a week and like all of our parents still work full time. So he's always just been daycare and then in September last year, so a year and a half later, we bumped it up to 3 days so I could have a day for my business and then Robert's work situation changed. So he's now doing 3.5 days. No, sorry, 3 days 1 week, and then the following week is 4 days. And I definitely it's nice having those 4-day weeks because I do work on that day as well for myself and for my job. But what I'm feeling now is that maybe my balance, what feels good for me, does not feel good for Kai. So 4 days at daycare is too much time away from me because you definitely notice when he hasn't had enough time with me, that's when he's getting overly emotional and just really clingy and acting out and just, so that's a fine, a bit of a juggling act with what is working for work and for me personally and what I need, because I'm so work driven, like that is such a thing that lights me up, but it's not necessarily what's working for Kai. And like I always thought like, no, this will be fine. And then like when we have a second one, like that's when I'll not work as much because then they'll both be home. But we've been talking lately about whether we even want a second one. And so that's a whole nother conversation. So whether that happens or not, whatever that outcome is, it's made me realize that like if we don't have a second one, or even if we don't, like if we do have a second one, like they've really only got one more year kind of at home with us before then kindy next year. And then it's school. And so like I'm now feeling that timeline of I wanted to work so much because that's what feels good. And now I'm kind of like, well shit, maybe I need to just pump the brakes for myself because I've really only got like I'm feeling that timeline of when school starts and then they're not home with us and it's only weekends and then they are going to not want to be with us as much. Like so now I'm like questioning this whole thing of like how much do I try and grow my business this year, or do I actually say yes to extra hours at work, or do we just keep going with like enough money to pay our bills and that's it? And like even Rob's like thought like rethinking his career choices around what happens now for the next 2 years until he's at school. And yeah, we're just in that weird space of because it's hard, like because you've got the juggle of what you need financially, what you need emotionally to feel fulfilled, and then what the emotional connection that your kid needs. Like it's a lot to juggle, and it's whatever you do, you're pretty much going to be in your own head about it, right? You're going to overthink and
you're going to be like, oh, I should have done this differently, or whatnot. But yeah, I definitely resonate with the whole like times running out. For like them being at home with you and being able to spend that quality time
and
together.
still being in that family bubble before school, and school kids are so become so much more present and important in their life.
Yeah, and I think that's why I fell on to the part-time working arrangement for as long as I can. I mean, like money aside, we just sort of bump along as we go, and you can't just went through. But it's and that's the reason I held on to it for as long as possible, because it's like just so little. Like, we should be devoting our time to them, like as much as we can.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side of that, I think it's like, how much do you rearrange your life around retirement?
Yeah.
It's like,
and they are adaptable at this age. Like they will just learn to live with
whatever the situation. Get used to being at childcare, or with other people during the day. But I think she's the same as well, in that, a couple of days of childcare, like the attitude changes. Yeah, very much so. You're like, oh, what day is it? Oh, yeah, that's right. You can kind of set your watch by it.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, yeah, second day of child. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's how you're acting. No worries. Like,
yeah, each day of the week gets harder and harder to get him in the car to go to daycare, and then like the day that he's home at the end of the week, he like has a ridiculously long sleep.
Yeah, they're just happy.
Yeah.
So that's why it's nice to have a bit of like quality, like quiet time, even if we don't plan too much on our day off. Like this is our downtime. This is our time to like connect and hang out.
Yeah.
And, try and have a nice day, and try not to be too stressed about the nap time and all of that. So
I've actually cancelled all of our like we don't have anything booked in on we have Mondays at home together now, and I don't have anything booked in because I'm like, let's actually just have that luxury of going with the flow and our energy. And
so nice if you can do it. Amazing.
Well, this has been such a good conversation. It's gone for so long that what I might do is actually pause here and we will record some more for a second episode.
We could just talk all day.
So thanks for listening to this one, and keep your ears tuned for the next episode.